civil liberties, human rights, democracy itself. Are they under threat in Britain? From being a very tolerant country, we've now become one of the countries that's hostile to human rights. The United Kingdom sees itself as a champion of democracy. But some feel that liberties have been taken too far, that they're being abused in new and dangerous ways, and that new laws need to protect public life. Yesterday's laws are simply not fit for purpose. What's happening to liberal Britain? How free and fair is Britain today? The right to protest, the right to strike, and the right to asylum are all in the spotlight. This is Millicent Fawcett, the campaigner for women's political rights in the UK. She's honored with a statue right in front of Parliament for the role she played in British political history. The suffragette movement she led eventually secured the right to vote for women in the UK. Burgett/historical pics. They chained themselves to government buildings, smashed windows, went on hunger strike, and disrupted the Grand National Horse Race. At the time, they were vilified as hysterical and criminal. Some went to jail. Today, they're heroes. Climate campaigners in Britain are using similar disruptive techniques. They've blocked traffic, chained themselves to bridges, and glued themselves to roads. They cause traffic jams and attract often hostile headlines. Policing them is expensive and takes officers away from other work. Polls show a majority of Britons don't agree with those protests. Nobody civilized would dream of stopping someone from getting to work or children going to school, let alone blocking ambulances. I'm afraid we've seen all those examples all too frequently. We do not make policy as a country through mob rule, through disruption, Madam Deputy Speaker. No democracy can do that. No democracy needs to do that. It's now a criminal offense for people to attach themselves to others, or to buildings or infrastructure. The penalties can include unlimited fines and up to 10 years in prison for those convicted of causing a public nuisance. According to opinion polls, the public broadly backs the new criminalization of some forms of protest. But does that justify curtailing a fundamental human right? The government has given the police wide-ranging and vaguely outlined powers to stop protesters, even before they've done anything. These measures go much further than those in other European countries. Protest has driven and moved so many important fundamental changes to democracy. For this reason, the European Court of Human Rights, along with the United Nations and international bodies, globally emphasize the fundamental importance of the right to protest as essential, as fundamental, in any democratic society. A meeting of conservative politicians and thinkers in London has the right to free speech on the agenda. A former government minister opens the conference. Well, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. But activists target the gathering, saying those attending are trying to move Britain away from its liberal tradition. I would like to draw your attention to the characteristics of fascism. Protesters say laws introduced just a few weeks earlier have already led to arrests which they say were unjustified. Those attending the conference say they're not limiting freedoms. We live in a representative democracy where everybody has the vote. You can vote at the ballot box, you can take part in local politics, you can stand for election. There are many, many ways of expressing your views. We have freedom of speech. But that doesn't mean you have an unqualified right to stop other people going about their business. We are not expecting to move the people inside the conference. We're here for those who are going to see it on social media, who are going to hear about it through the news, and build a mass movement of people who support us. It's important to use this right. A right to free speech does nothing if nobody exercises it. That's what we are doing today. International organizations like Human Rights Watch say the UK's human rights record is in significant decline. No one asked you to come here. Those attending the conference maintain, the UK is still a free and fair country. Fascism? I am not a fascist. Index on Censorship, a London-based freedom of expression group, ranked countries on their openness. The UK